thanks for joining me today. I am delighted to be showing you how to make a flamingo, one of our house favorites, on a little pool of water today. So let's get started. Okay, so first let's stamp our blue little puddle that our flamingo is standing in. So I'm using a blue Distress ink and our Flora and Fauna mini Swirl Thanks little stamp set. Now in order to only get a half a puddle, we need to make sure we're completely inked. There we go. And then we're going to need to mask off the top half of our card. So you get to decide what shape you want your petal to be. If you want the extra little sort of separated petal piece on the back, or if you want just a more solid piece there on the front, it's up to you. Your card, the choice of having that creative freedom. So I'm just going to go ahead and just line up my paper kind of where I want it to go, and then just stamp. And I have a nice looking puddle. Okay. So we can set aside our little blue puddle and let it dry while we create our flamingo. For our flamingo body, we need a 12-inch piece of pink paper. And then for the head, we're going to need 3 inches. And for the neck, approximately 3/4 of an inch, which is nice and little. And then our feet is 1.5 inches approximately. And then we have some extra left over. So I'm going to go ahead and fold the feet here in half so I don't get my pieces mixed up. So I'm just going to fold that 1.5 inch piece of paper in half. And then I'm going to go to my long one for the flamingo body. I'm going to put the tail end of that paper inside of my slot of my quilling tool and roll to the end. This is kind of a fun shape that we're making. I call it a shaped teardrop because it starts off as a teardrop, but then we're going to shape it so it's got a little bit of extra curve on one side. And let it expand. Once you're satisfied with the size of your loose coil, we'll glue it down. So a little bit of glue there on the inside of that tail. Smooth it down and pinch. Okay, so now for the fun part of shaping it. So I'm going to take where it's pointed and just with my sort of thumbnail a little bit, very gently, and my index finger shape it so it's kind of curved. You can decide how much you want it to be curved or how little, but we're kind of creating that iconic flamingo body shape. We'll set that aside. For the head, it's our 3-inch piece of paper. Same sort of idea, but this time we're going to create a flattened teardrop. Roll to the end, let it expand, glue down the tail. And this time, instead of making a very nice teardrop shape, I'm going to flatten the whole thing. So I want a point on one end, but it's going to be a little bit rounded on the other. And we're also going to shape this one so we get sort of that beak, that downturned beak shape. Okay, and while I have the head here in my hand, I'm going to take a black pen. Any kind of black pen will work. This is a calligraphy pen. I like it because it's got that flat, straight edge. And we're just going to color in the flamingo beak. Again, any kind of pen will work. A regular one for writing with, a Sharpie, any kind of black pen will work. And I just try to line it up all the way across. And don't worry about going in and getting all the inside layers. Okay, looks great. So now, you'll get calligraphy ink all over your fingers. We're going to take our little 3/4 inch piece of paper and we're going to curve it so it kind of creates an S shape. I'm just turning it over because I tend to get my curves to work better when I do one side at a time. One side can be a little bit of a larger curve, and then the other side needs to be a little bit more curvy because that's where the head is going to go. Okay, so now we're going to put a little bit of glue here at the base of that larger curve, And then we're going to connect it to the flamingo body. And then I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to put some glue here up on the other end of that neck and a little bit, just a little bit, on that upper curve. And then we're going to put the head so it goes right underneath the edge of the paper. Smooth it down so it's all even. Okay. We can let it dry. We'll go ahead and put on the little legs. And I'm just going to put some glue there on the outside of that fold, that 1.5 inch piece of paper that we folded in half. And then just let it go. Typically when I glue it, it likes to expand, so I'm just going to let it do its drying and gluing thing and move over to layering up our A1 size card. So I found some cool little arrow paper that looked like it was going places, but when you cover up all the arrows, it kind of just looked like a pond. So our arrow piece is 4¼ by 3 inches. And then our little puddle piece here is 1/2 inch shorter on both sides. So 2.5 by 3. Okay, let's check on our flamingo. This one might be tempting fate here. I'm going to take a little pair of scissors and just trim so that way the legs are even. Okay, I'm going to go ahead, I'm a little worried and suspicious that he's going to fall apart, or she, and I'm going to use one that I created a little bit earlier to finish off our card. So we're going to take our flamingo, smear some glue here on the back side. You get to decide which direction you want your flamingo pointing. So if you want it pointing or facing to the right, then put the glue on the appropriate side. Well, let's put a little bit of glue down here on the legs. Doesn't take much. Down there by the feet so they'll stay put. Okay, and then we'll just position our flamingo here in our pond. Sometimes ponds are more cooperative than others in terms of the final look. But voila, we have a flamingo and a pond. Thanks for joining me, everyone. See you next time.